taking back your power. It's not going to be what you think it is. It's a remarkable story. So first, let's talk about worldly power, and then we'll talk about the divine power. The worldly power is power over others, trying to control everything in our life, trying to control others so we can feel safe around them, trying to make everything molded the way we want to see it and experience it. That's worldly power. People in high places, people in power positions, people who are in business even, and they have employees and a lot of responsibility with the people that are working for them. Power in the world is something that isn't real. You have no power over anybody or anything unless they let it happen. There is no way that you can make anybody do anything unless they let you, unless they give up their power to you. I have met a lot of people over the many, many years that I've been in the spiritual circles. And when I saw, and it was for training, when I saw spiritual facilitators and healers and all kinds of labels that they gave themselves, I realized that they didn't get why they were in that position of power, where they sat in the chair of the teacher. They were given that chair because God was going to send to them the perfect people to mirror themselves. So the so-called teacher is the student as well. And when you know that, and you work with people, all of us work with people, right? We speak to others, we counsel them, we suggest things that we know would be for their highest good. That's a teacher, that's a counselor. But the difference between a very well-versed teacher and counselor and so-called healer is one that does not in any way or form take and make decisions for the people that they work with, or to tell them what to do in circumstances. You're taking away their power if you make them dependent upon you. You are to guide them to their power, to their strength, to their core, to their higher self, so that they can make decisions and have that assistance that they need to make those decisions, to move in their life, to decide which direction to go. Taking back your power is not allowing yourself to go about your business in a way that would leave you dependent on another person. We all reach out to others for advice and guidance, right? We love to share our life with other people, and that's a beautiful thing. But the questions, the real deep ones, should be posed to your higher self. When you're alone, quietly, just sitting there, having a conversation with yourself, because that part of you is your best friend, will never guide you wrong. You want to know who you can trust. They won't let you down. They'll lead you on the path of righteousness and goodness and holiness back to source. Your origin is divine. Taking back your power is actually first falling in love with yourself, not beating yourself up, not judging yourself, becoming so peaceful inside you. And when you are in this state of love and peace, you are in your true power. Love and the light that you exude, the pathway through your cellular structure and your fields, is the path to power. You become completely and utterly sovereign. You don't need anything outside you anymore. Once you reach a certain point where that light is moving through you so clearly and so freely without hitting blocks all over the place. So what are these blocks that keep us from our power? It's patterns and thoughts and behaviors that we've developed, not just in this lifetime, but over many, many, many lifetimes. So we can go back 4 lifetimes and clean up some of the mess that we still carry with us. It doesn't usually go further than that, but there are patterns that were built and belief systems through trauma and other experiences we've had that could go back a much longer way. To heal those things, we need to be impeccably honest with ourselves, be made ready to be in full power, because it's a big responsibility to be there. Very big. Once you have that level of light moving through you, and you think thoughts that are not exactly in love, you can shake somebody up really bad, psychically, not even meaning to do that. But the power that comes from you with that light moving through you, you have to be very careful. You have to be living very consciously and very aware of what you're saying, thinking, and how you're conducting yourself. You have to watch yourself like a hawk. Now, the masters told me that don't be afraid, because we will cut off power as fast as the speed of light, if you should glitch and do something, or start thinking about something, or lose your temper, or in any way be out of control, out of the love state. So if we're not disciplined with ourselves, it takes a while to move into this place of power that we're talking about. Divine love. Think about it for a moment. What could that mean to you? Divine love. Divine love is so different than what humans experience here in 3D. Divine love is unconditional. It doesn't have to be received in order to give it. It doesn't have to be experienced even in a lifetime. But you would hold that light and be in that frequency of love. To be in power is to be in peace. What is true peace? Peace is when you find yourself in the same situation with the same people, and your whole life is still running just like it always did. But rather than react to it, you respond to it. True power is to see a situation, to be involved in a situation, no matter what it is, no matter what frequency it is moving in, and be in your center, perfectly calm, perfectly clear. There's no power that can go above that. Nothing can penetrate that or destroy it. You are divine at that moment. Think about it. You've all done it. You've all been there. You've stood in the face of adversity and you held your center. That's power. When you're in a crowd and you start to feel the agitation of people because everybody's going through whatever they're going through, right? Everybody is experiencing life a little differently. However, you're standing there in the midst of this, you can feel the energy around you. And if it's disturbing, what do you do to stay in your power? You expand your light. You start feeling the love for that person or a group of people. And when you send that love vibration into that crowd or into an individual, they start to feel it. I'm going to give you an example. This young man that is a tech that I've been working with the new computer, because it was a lot of sophistication that needed to be put into this because of the website coming. And normally he is completely friendly and open and happy, but I walked into a storm. He had like a black cloud all around his head, and I could see it as I was walking towards him. So I knew, uh-oh, something's going on. So I came in with a problem, and he was kind of snapping at me because it was a big job and he really wasn't in the mood. And I said, okay, Barbara, do your magic. What did I do? I sat there silent and I just sent love. I sent so much love that I was getting dizzy because it was coming back to me at first because he wasn't accepting it. He was in a bad mood and he didn't want to be out of that bad mood. And we all know that, right? We know that feeling that we just leave ourselves where we are and just fiddle with it. And after about not even 10 minutes, maybe 8 minutes, all of a sudden, I noticed the face was a little smile coming on the face. And I stayed very quiet and I just kept doing the light. And then all of a sudden, I asked a question very softly and quietly. I said, what do you think, the problem was, or whatever it was? And he just started talking like usual. And then he started telling me about his childhood and his father, who was a super brain, and about his brothers. And I just sat there and I said, thank you, God. That was so beautiful. That's being in power in its true form. The love of God in the midst of a very chaotic energy field or room or building. God knows in a mall what you feel. That's power. People don't realize what that really means to be in that type of power. If you can remain in the midst of somebody, let's say it's somebody that you're constantly dealing with, and they're very argumentative and they're very abusive verbally. What do you do with that person? You send them love. You answer respectfully, even if you're being disrespected. You hold your center because that's your power. That's where you can change, you can move mountains. You know that saying? You can move mountains. And that's what the mountain is. It's a blocked being or group where the energy is not flowing. They're stuck. They're miserable. They feel as if there's no hope. And you can actually, eventually, you'll be able to see this with your own eyes. You'll be able to see it because their energy will feel so out of sorts, or the expression on their face or their body language, right? You'll know. And sometimes it's just the way they speak to you. It's very obvious then. Taking back your power is a slow, steady process of coming to know yourself, to see the things that are disturbing to you and clear them out of yourself. Most people go for the person that's doing it or saying it or acting it out, thinking that we can convince them to be different. But that isn't the case. First, we work on ourselves, on the things that we recognize, the places where we can't get through, like we're banging our head against a wall, trying to talk to another person. And then we send that light and love, no matter what they're saying or doing, until you get results. What is the results? You open them up. They can't help it. Love begets love. Love is irresistible. It's remarkable. And as you start to practice this, don't necessarily start with the most difficult person in your life because it might discourage you. Yeah. Start with a person that's just kind of like a pain, just and work your way up to the one that really needs your patience and your attention too. You become, and I really mean this, it's part of this Christing of yourself. You become Christed because it's a superhuman ability, a part of our divinity that is able to do this. And everybody has this ability. It's just, do we practice it? Or do we let ourselves get caught up in the emotions, in the energy, the lower energy? Do we let ourselves go there? It used to feel good to get a good anger out, to have a good yelling match. It doesn't anymore. It's very disturbing. Not once you know the peace that passes understanding, and it's a real thing. It's absolutely a real thing. And when you have that, you want it. You don't ever want to be out of that space. And if you find yourself there, the first thing you do is go have a good cry or get angry and let out that emotion. It is the greatest gift you can give yourself. And you actually release a block or two. Sometimes you let go of a whole section of disturbing energy that just won't move because we have to change our mind about how we're going to deal with things. Once you change your mind and you surrender, like we talked about, trust and surrender. Once we surrender to the flow and say to ourselves, look, either I'm going to keep doing everything the same way I always did and get the same results, or I'm going to change my mind and start doing things differently. That's power. That's strength. You become so sure of yourself and clear, not arrogant about it. Just that when you speak, you mean what you say and you say what you mean. People appreciate that. They appreciate honesty. Yeah. That's why people like to ask my opinion on things. all my life, even before I was getting it, because I was honest. You don't want to be brutally honest. You want to be gentle, but be honest, because people want to hear the truth, and they know the truth, right? You know the truth. You know when somebody's saying something that just doesn't sit right with you, but be respectful. Maybe they're doing the best they can, right? We can't expect people to be different than they are, but we should and better expect it of ourselves. We have the ability to transform ourselves from a human being with a personality into a divine being. What is a divine being? It is the fullness of yourself, the highest version of yourself. People use that, kind of flippantly, but it really is. And it isn't a goal, because you're always going to be expanding and growing. So there's no limit to that divinity that you are. Otherwise, that would mean that God is limited. How silly is that? Each one of us have to become impeccably honest with ourselves. And then you can't lie anymore. You can't even tell a fib, because you condition yourself to be honest and truthful and in your integrity. Wouldn't that be refreshing in this world? That you care about everybody in your life. No more of this "I don't care" kind of thing. Of course you care. Care deeply about everything, because it's a part of you. We're all connected. We're all connected in consciousness. So when you hurt somebody, you're hurting yourself. When you help somebody, you're helping yourself. When you overcome something that you always did it wrong, you would be so angry. Did you ever have that conversation with yourself at the end of the day? I should have said this, and I should have done that, and I should have, would have, could have. How about we just do it? Mistakes are not mistakes. They're opportunities to learn and grow. Respecting yourself first, being true to yourself, not doing things because somebody's going to like me, or somebody's going to want to be around me, or somebody's going to want to listen to me. That's silliness. But when people hear you speak with authority, with truth, with honesty, integrity, not just in your words, but in your actions, that's power. That's power over your shadow side. Any one of us can turn back to the shadow again and just give up being the truth about ourselves. It's true. But once you get a taste of this feeling of being free, you want to know freedom? It's an internal thing, like everything else. Power comes in a way that's so gentle and so loving and so enjoyable to be in this space of love. There is nothing that you'd ever want more. The world starts to fade away, and all the things of the world, and nothing holds you here, because you want your consciousness to be in the heavenly worlds and your feet firmly on the ground. Can you imagine? That is the divine being. I'm sure you've seen renditions of this, where you see the person with their feet rooted into the earth, and then their heads in the heavens. And that's the true man. We just forgot. We forgot because we started to look into 3D and we liked all the sparkle and the glitter and all the glamour. And oh, I can go on vacation, and oh, I can buy this, and oh, I can have a big house, and oh, yeah, this is heaven. No, it isn't. What's heaven is to be in peace. What's heaven is to be a person you can be proud of. That you can say at the end of the day, you know what? I am really, really liking myself. Instead of saying, oh, I'm so miserable. My hair looks like, and I didn't get to buy that dress because it was too expensive. Or that man was so mean to me. Who's that man anyway? That man was a mirror for you. What part of me, what cell is holding on to that vibration? You don't have to say anything to that person except, bye, thank you for sharing. And then you go home and take care of it. My car used to be what I would call my processing center. So after something would happen, I'd get in my car and I'm driving down that road and I'm getting all that anger out and frustration because I didn't want to bring it into my home. And I didn't want to bring it home to my husband or my children. Sometimes it's here at home where you're going to find those feelings coming up. So you go in the shower or you turn a radio on or something to kind of muffle the sounds of a good release of anything that is troubling you. So when you think of power, think of love. The most loving person, the person who cares the most, the person who goes out of their way for others, and never, ever doing it because you have an alternative reason. It has to be pure. You're doing it because it's the right thing to do. And you actually are loving yourself by doing that. When you see somebody that is confused or in trouble or not being able to make good decisions or finding their way, that's the person that you give your time to. Time and speaking to somebody and caring for somebody is like medicine to them. It can do more than giving them something. You give of yourself. It doesn't cost you a dime, but it gives you a jewel in your crown. And that you'll get to see when you're in the next dimension. You're all very beautiful beings. You have all kinds of gifts and talents, but the greatest of all is love. Live in that state of love. It doesn't mean you're a wishy-washy, silly-willy. It means that you respect and honor yourself and others, no matter where they're at. People say, oh, I wish so-and-so in my life was more spiritual. My goodness, you can't be any more spiritual than you are. Everybody is. It's just that the part that they're playing is not going to match the part that you're playing. It's as simple as that. They don't seem spiritual. They don't talk spiritual, but they're doing what they came to do. They're serving others. Sometimes it's to see the shadow, and it's very uncomfortable. And I'm not saying that it's fun. I've been through it all. I'm not talking through my hat. I know exactly what I'm saying to you. And if one person on the planet can do it, everyone can. That's ready. That's willing. That's surrendered to the truth. Do you want that power? Hmm? Do you want that power? It's not over others. That power to become the fullness of yourself, that divine being that everybody thinks about and wants so bad, to have all the powers back, all the extrasensory perceptions that we all have the ability to do. If that is what you want, take your power back. Take it back. Make your choice, and you will have it. No one can take it away from you. Nobody can take anything away from you unless you give it. You give it up. Now, what I give up is the shadow. I don't like it when I'm not nice, when I'm not friendly, when I'm not caring. I'm disappointed in myself. Why would I be like that? Because I didn't want to look at that person? Did I feel that it would show me a vision of some part of myself that I could not in any way endure the pain of? What is it? I ask myself. So you ask yourself, why is it that you turn away? Why is it that you hold back having the fullness of yourself, the power back, the strength? You have everything you need. You have the strength. It is nothing to do with physical strength. It has to do with the will, using the little will, the two-edged sword, to make good choices. Hmm? Yeah. And you'll be in power. And people will hear you. And they will want to listen to what you say. Not because you're controlling anything outside yourself, but because they see you took control over you. They'll recognize it and want that. They'll want it for themselves. That's power. So I want you to think of questions having to do with the discussion, your idea about power. Maybe it isn't matching this, and you'll want to know why. Or maybe it's just another take on what was said, or something else that you'd like to know about it. Also, think about topics that you would like to hear. My mastery is an ascension. That was the gift I came to this planet to teach many times.